What's good? What's good? You are now watching Super Report Show. I'm your host, King Ralph, here with my homie and my co-host, the homie Kai. What's popping, bro?
Yo, what's poppin', man? I don't have a brand new whip to hop in, so I guess that line's outdated. But I am back in the flesh of the flesh for a huge show today, Ralph, man. And I couldn't do it without anyone cooler and better. So I'm glad to be here.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you all for watching. This is the season finale. We just wrapped up the NBA and NHL hockey season. But before we get into talking about that, send a shout out to the sponsors if you want to do any music videos, podcasts, photo shoots. Call the number on the bottom of the screen, 707 Fitboxer. Make sure you follow our socials. We're gonna put them periodically on the bottom, but you can follow on us. You can see us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Just look at the socials on the bottom of the screen. I'll go over them later.
All right.
Starting up, we got top guards in the NBA draft. I think that I've come to realize, and I brought this up last week, I've come to realize that when it comes to the NBA, it is positionless basketball. So
yeah,
there's point guards and shooting guards that they just all get mixed up together. Eventually, careers, they'll get separated into what position they'll play or line up at. I think with the small forwards and power forwards, it's so blurred because of small ball. It's not so set in stone where even like the five, going between the 4 and the 5, there's people that were listed at 5s that's like, there's no way they're playing the 5.
Bruh. Exactly. I was like, bruh.
So this kind of made it different. And so that's why with this particular, plus it being the finale episode, I didn't want to have it to be two separate topics. So we just got guards.
All right.
All together. I'm going to talk
10?
Huh?
You doing 10?
No, I'm just going to name some of my top ones.
All right.
And then go from there. Obviously, Scoot, being able to watch his tape, long arm, 6'9" wingspan at 6'2", ability to get to the rim, explosive first step, amazing athlete. It's one of those things where him, Miller, and Vic is you can now outside of Vic and him just being 7'38", being able to dribble and move like that. I think that he's just a freak of nature. So you're never going to be able to compare the other two to that. But I think Scoot has the ability and ceiling to be one of the greatest that we've seen because of his athleticism. He has a De'Aaron Fox, Derrick Rose blend of athleticism and explosion to the rim. The same thing with those other guys is, can you get a jump shot to where how explosive you can be? Now, if you partner that with a 1-dribble pull-up, 2-dribble pull-up, a 1-dribble pump fake, like you start to create things off of that, get a bag off of those combos, and create a balance. I think that his ceiling is through the roof. I'd like to see him play alongside of somebody. I would like to see him just attacking it from the 2-guard spot, although he's not that big. But he has a stockiness to him to where I don't think you'll be able to just easily push him over. But at the same time, like let's just say he goes to a Charlotte. You already have a fellow who's playing the 1, who is also bigger. So if the matchup says otherwise, he could switch and guard a 2, a 3.
Right.
And so it gives the team versatility. If the Blazers end up keeping the pick, I don't really see. I think if Miller gets drafted first, then I think that you'll see probably a domino effect of people being traded.
Okay.
You already have Dame, you already have Simons, and then what are you going to do with a third guard, especially someone of that ilk? And so next up, I got Keontae George out of Baylor. Combo guard, total bucket. Watching the film, my brother just left to go to work, so I looked at it and was like, I think we're looking at CJ McCollum here.
Pro comp right there. Got a pro comp.
The updated version of CJ McCollum, because CJ McCollum is amazing in the mid range, but he prefers the long ball. Yeah. So I think his shooting percentage, I think they had him at 34% from three. It's terrible, but at the same time, it's for how good of a shooter, his shooting form, his shooting touch. Good, I think a lot of that comes down to his shot taking. And so I think that Keontae George, I would like to see. I'd probably see him going in like a mid-range, like a lottery pick. Because he doesn't have the crazy athletic ability, but he's just a bucket.
And and the game is about a bucket,
right?
James Naismith got peach baskets and called them buckets. So,
and I wanted to talk about him last week, and I said I was going to talk about, but this is my favorite player in the draft, Kason Wallace out of Kentucky. Amazing defender, 6'4", has the ability to play now with the small ball. He can play from the 1-all to the 3. Strong, shoots passing lanes very well. Great on-ball defender, gets a lot of strips, poke outs. Athletic playmaker on offense. And I think the same goes for him that goes with Scoot is, can he get a jump shot to the point of where to round out his game pretty much? Because if you already have where you're, of all the defenders I watched, if he ain't number one, he in that top two or three.
Yeah, in his class. Yeah.
Especially in his class. And so I think being able to finish attacking the rim, his ability to be a playmaker off the dribble, use the pick and roll. Now, if you just get, like I mentioned before, the one dribble pull up, get you a spot up corner three, get you something where we have to respect your jumper to where you space the floor, especially because that's where we just are in this day and age.
Right.
His ability to play defense is going to keep him on the floor a lot, but you got to be able to contribute on the offensive end. And those are my three, bro.
All right, I like that. First and foremost, I agree with you about the respectable jump shot thing, because every time I hear that, I actually think about the women's game when what was it? Iowa was playing that team and Caitlin Clark just waved off old girl.
Yeah, just shoot that. Hey, bro, shoot with us.
Yo, man, I ain't never seen nothing like that, man. I was like, wow. So now anytime someone says that person needs a respectable jump shot, I think of that wave now. It's embedded in my mind. But I'm with you, man. Kason Wallace out of Kentucky is actually my favorite out of the guards, and actually one of my favorites in this draft class, period, man. Obviously, he has the cachet of the school that he went to, but he does a little bit of everything, and he does everything well. I don't think there's anything. Well, I would say his defense, I could say is actually pretty great. Because I wouldn't say does he do anything great, but I think he's a really good defender, the best in his class. He can score from the mid range. And one thing I like about this draft class, Ralph, is there's a couple different guys, players, so to speak, in this particular draft class that actually have a mid range game, right? And so I know me and you, that's something that we always like, and that was something that we grew up on. One, you had to have it, and two, we watched a lot of our favorite players, a Dwayne Wade, a Kobe Bryant, a Michael Jordan, Kawhi Leonard. So being the mid-range, shout out to Jamal Crawford, is like a jab in boxing, he said. So I like that. I like that terminology. So Wallace definitely has that. I actually found his percentage for his finishing at the rim around 70%. So that's really, really high. He knows how to use his body. I think he's very slithery too. A nice touch around the rim. Another player that I personally like in this draft is Kobe Buffkin. So I had to put a Kobe out of Michigan. I like those Michigan guys because one thing with Michigan is they're going to be able to shoot the basketball. He can play on or off the ball. I like that about him. He's a really good finisher at the rim. He wasn't the most efficient though at the shooting, but also I got to think about how he was playing, what he was asked to do, and he has a good stroke. So if you have a good stroke, I believe that is something that can translate to the next level, the shooting mechanics thing. And then I said he's very good shot blocking guard and navigate screens, and he has a high motor. So what guys like Kobe, guys like Case and Wallace, when I look at certain things, I look at intangibles, things that you can't always see on the stat sheet. I know I stress this a lot on the show, but like having a high motor, like really, really matters to me. Right.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why I'm not saying Russell Westbrook doesn't do other things. Clearly he does because he averages a triple double. Right. But it's one of the reasons why you have some of those old school players like Russ, because if anything else, if his shot is not falling, right, or he's just having a bad night, right, he's at least give energy and give effort. And so I like players that can hustle. So, hustle and flow. Shout out to Terrence Howard. But and then my number one, I got to go with Scoot Henderson, man. I don't know if he's gonna have a nickname or whatever, but hey, that might just be his nickname, just Scoot, because his regular name, G League Ignite. 7-foot wingspan. I put down that he's kind of built like a football player. You know what I'm saying? A little bit, not but still a little bit. And he has confidence. He plays confidence. There's not a shot that he's scared of taking or a shot that he doesn't like to take. He's really good. He's a really good playmaker. He's an excellent finisher at the basket. And he has a quick release. So all those things that I look at in an NBA prospect, he has. And I believe that he's the most NBA ready out of his class full of guards and combo guards. So those are the three players that I like. And also I can make the case that, obviously Scoot's number one, but I can make the case that those three are probably the three best at their position. So yeah, those are mine.
All right. For sure. All right. I definitely think Scoot is the most at the guard position ready person.
Yeah.
Because he has a matureness to his game, although he's only 17, 18 years old, that's well beyond his years. I say him and Kaysen are the two that can step on day one.
Agreed.
And major contributors on their teams. Next up, we just wrapped up with the finals, but before we start talking about it, Jokic and what he was able to do, being the finals MVP. Aaron Gordon in Game 5 taking over. Well, not Game 5, but Game 4, getting them, helping them get the victory. What are some of your favorite finals performances?
All right. So some of my favorite finals performances. Man, that is a great question. But I'm actually going to go with this one. I got to go with Tim Duncan. I got to give Tim Duncan some love. No one's going to do it, so I got to do it. No, but no. And no, it was cool because I think a lot of people forget that he was going up against a Kenyon Martin. Kenyon Martin's a good defender now, right? And the dude literally had a triple-double. Well, not triple-double, a quadruple-double, essentially, but the ref cheated him. So I think he had like 21, 20, and like 9 or something like that, Ralph. And it came out that the ref wound up like he was supposed to have a quadruple-double. But he was immaculate on that run. He went through a Kobe and Shaq on the postseason run. He went through a KG. He went through a Duncan, if I'm not mistaken. And then he just destroyed the New Jersey Nets. Now, the series that I'm talking about for everyone who's like, well, what series? I'm talking about the 2003 NBA Finals, the San Antonio Spurs, which is one of the greatest postseason runs ever by a player, Tim Duncan, with I believe it was a rookie Tony Parker, a young Manu Ginobili, and an old David Robinson, right? Old David Robinson. Going up against Richard Jefferson, going up against Jason Kidd, someone who was in the ranks for MVP with him, going up against a Kenyon Martin, a Kerry Kittles, Coach of the Year Byron Scott at that time. So I got to go with Tim Duncan. And then my other two, and I'll swing it back to you, man. I got to go with Michael Jordan, 1998. I think the first three-peat Mike was like the greatest in my personal opinion, but because of the way he closed it off, Ralph, and everyone talked about it, man, had he not come back, yo, that's a storybook ending. It's a storybook ending, man, even though he was nice with the Wizards. So I'm going to go with Mike. I love the Game 6 performance. If you ever go back and watch it on YouTube, like that dude's mid-range was humming, bro. It was humming, man. As my dad would say, that's old school talk. And then that third one, Jadakiss, man, the third one's always hard. Jadakiss voice. No, but I wanna put my boy up there because there's some that are statistically great, but after statistics, man, I ain't all about statistics. I'm talking about how you got it done, right?
Right.
I'm going with the 2010 Kobe Bean Bryant, man. Yo, look, man, everyone's talking about, oh, he shot 6 for 24 in the closeout game. We all watched it. Yeah, guess what? Everyone shot horrible in that game. He was the leading scorer for both teams. And when your shot's not falling, what do we always say? Follow your shot and also demoralize the opponent by getting second chance opportunities. And what did he do? He grabbed 15 rebounds. He kicked it out to Ron Artest for the assist. Ron Artest hit the three. Then post game, like, Kobe passed me the ball. Kobe passed me the ball. Like, look, Ralph, I know you're not a Laker fan, and that's perfectly fine. I used to be a Laker fan, diehard. But as much as I know you understand that rivalry, so I don't have to tell you, but as a Laker fan, that game was like crazy. Like that game, like that meant everything. Like we went nuts. And like I think I was a freshman in college or a senior in high school. Laker Nation went nuts when we beat the Celtics that year because of how badly they spanked the Lakers in 08. People forget they lost by like, what was it? I want to say it was 39 points. Bro, I was hurt. I was like hurt, bro. I was hurt, man. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Cole, man. I'm not going with statistics, and he actually performed pretty well statistically. But I'm just going based off of the level of competition for Hall of Famers, Hall of Fame head coach. So I want you to get your list off too. So those are my favorites.
And so since we talking about a level of competition,
okay,
this is someone that over the past 4 or 5 years got his team to 2 finals, and look at his health. Jimmy Butler.
I like it. Okay.
Game 3 of the 2020 finals.
Mm-hmm.
You see, we all know the picture where he's leaning over the side rail. My man gave everything he had and led his team to a victory, bro. The only reason they was even really in that series at all, they lost Bam at some point. I think they had lost Tyler Hero for some, or no, they lost Dragic too at one point, and he was the starter on that team at that time. So I think that it's 40 points, 13 assists, and 11 rebounds. But also, I remember watching that game, and it was like, it's Jimmy or bust, and they won. They found a way, and I thought that was a heck of a performance. Another one I really wanted to go to is, where is it at? Was obviously Michael Jordan. I got to talk about my favorite one, but it's Game 3. I believe it's Game 3 of the '93 finals. No, Game 4 of the '93 finals. That's the game where he has the second most points in NBA playoff history at 55.
Bro.
At one point, they had a 55-point outburst. He scored half those points. 56.8% from the field in that game. He was cooking them. It was nothing they can do about it.
Three-peat Mike, bro. First three-peat Mike, different, bro.
Yeah, he was something special, bro. And then I just remember, Shaq, bro. Like Shaq in those in the 2000 finals, it was unfair. Facts. I'm not even gonna really talk about stats because I could run off a string of stats that like it's not too many people rocking these stats, but I'm not even gonna go there. But
no answer for him. No answer.
No answer for him. And I remember, man, I wanted them to lose to that Portland Trail Blazer team so bad. Oh man, I still remember being at the original Wet n Wild. To the fourth quarter, I was like, all right, they getting smacked. I'm gonna go ahead, get them fall off and splish and splash in this water. I come back to come grab a snack.
All you saw was the alley-oop.
When I was walking up, bro, it was like it was like the timeout that eventually like led to the shot rebound, which came down to that. And I'm just like, or like a foul. It was some kind of break and play. And then I walked up. It was the shot that happened where they got the rebound and they come down the court. Now Kobe's at the top of the key.
That was such a smooth cross, bro.
I'm like,
yeah.
So hurt.
Scotty ain't getting that ring, bro. I was
like, that's how much I hated the Lakers at that time. I had no race.
Yeah.
But Shaq on that playoff run and then what he did to that Pacers team.
Right.
Yo, what he did to that Nets team too.
Yo, you know that iconic photo? It's like 5 dudes on him. And he just dunking the ball, bro. Yo, that's cold. That's cold. I'm sorry, Draymond Green. You ain't guarding Shaq. I heard you can't. No, you can't do it, bro.
He's putting you in the rim, bro. You're not guarding Shaq, bro. The only thing that can stop Shaq is Father Time.
Facts. I think that's what like, you know, like God made him to be like, bro, like your only flaw would be like father timing yourself, bro. Like honestly, some people aren't like that. There's special people that come, generational. So
next up, we got bag or walk.
All right,
giving them the bag or telling them to walk.
Okay,
Fred VanVleet.
I'm giving him the bag, man, because here's why. I'm giving him the bag because who else are the Raptors going to get to? Well, actually, no, it's a nice draft, though. It is a nice draft. And they did get rid of the coach, right?
My personal opinion, bro.
I want to see him on the Lakers. How about that?
It sound wild.
Let him walk.
He deserves a Jalen Brunson type bag.
I don't think that's wild. I think Jalen Brunson's actually a better shot creator a little bit.
Yeah. But I just feel
Go ahead.
I feel like they're not that far apart, but because one plays in New York and the other plays for the Raptors, we look at them differently.
Right. I mean, Van Fleet went off in that finals though.
Yeah.
But he's my age, so you got to think about, and you know, like 30s aren't old, everyone, especially with the advances of technology, how everyone's playing longer now. So that's something that we always have to think about now. So player like a 34-year-old actually can play another like 6 years. But maybe not at LeBron level. But I'm kind of with you. I think he did cook in the finals. I kind of want to see him on a team like the Lakers though. But they were rumored to have him there for rumored to be linked to him like 2 years ago. But I'm not mad if he walks, just because I think the situation also, like if they're trying to rebuild in Toronto or whatever, or around OG, was it Anobi? I think Anobi and not Anobi, Scotty Barnes.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going. Yeah.
Next up, we got Gabe Vincent.
That's tough. Out of the Heat players that are on this list, I'm giving him the bag.
Yeah,
he was reliable. Out of the Heat players on this list, I think.
Yeah, if you put it into the perspective like that, I'm nervous.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to really sit down, look at your tape, because I feel like the mistake they made in giving Duncan Robinson that bag the first time around,
right,
and him it taking 2-3 years for you to see dividends in that. Because I'm not paying you for what you have done, I'm paying you for what you can do.
Yeah.
And will do. So I think he does. I think out of all if you put it into context to what that team needs, you give him the bag.
Yeah.
But I would be worried about it.
All
Next up, Jeremy Grant.
Look, man, I know you have ties to the Bulls, and Horace Grant played for the Bulls and all that, but I wasn't a proponent of him getting the bag first place, because I think that just me respectfully, and I don't like saying it, but like I think he kind of sees himself as a player that he's like I don't ever want to say capable of, because I respect players, but like what he envisions himself to be on the court, I don't see it on the tape, but I do think he's a really good defender. And I think he's a nice piece, but I feel like he's someone that like I could see him, you go to Denver, a team like something like that, someone who needs you could knock down a shot, play defense. He has length, size, but I just don't see him being like a huge bag type player. So I'm saying no, just my personal opinion though. I could be.
I think depending on his role,
Mhm.
if you give him the bag,
Yeah.
because I think that on a bad team, he can be a one or a two.
Mhm.
But when you start to playing like I think he's in a perfect situation in Portland.
Yeah.
I can come in and still average a 19, 18 to 20,
Okay.
but I'm here to be a long wing defender and hit.
Right.
I think that it's perfect for where that team is now. You already have an Anthony Simons, you already have a Dame, and then you got a Jeremy Grant. Just keep building off of that. Sharp coming off the bench, get you a 4 and a 5 of the
Right.
future, or at least over the next couple of years. That's going to help you contend.
Exactly. Exactly. I agree.
But it is what it is. Austin Reeves.
The immortal Austin Reeves. Absolutely. I'm giving him the bag. Austin Reeves, man, look, he wasn't afraid of the playoffs. He wasn't afraid of the moment. I noticed that. One, he wasn't afraid of the moment. Two, he makes hustle plays. Three, he was able to make timely shots. Then he got to the playoffs, and there was times when he would have a 20-point performance, right? And I know we talked about the Taylor Horton Tucker thing, and I was like, yo, Austin Reeves like that, bro. That boy bad, man. And Austin Reeves, man, like he's a LeBron teammate that LeBron always wanted. And I think if LeBron is smart, you have to learn from Caruso because he let Caruso walk. And we said that's a bad idea. Caruso's a better defender than Austin Reeves, right? No doubt about that. But Reeves gives you scoring and playmaking. So I think for that team, he fits. And I actually think that he could fit well as a complementary piece to another team with stars on it, obviously, with stars on it. And I would give him the bag. I heard that people are looking at giving him the big money and all that kind of stuff. And he's a Kobe fan too. So I think LA is a perfect fit. So if you let him walk, that's their loss. So that's just me. I think he deserves it. It's cool.
I agree. Last up, we got how much time? We got enough for two more.
Okay.
So we're gonna go Nas Reed.
Yes. I like what he contributes. I think that he has upside as well. On the offensive end, he played alongside well with other good players on the court. He's someone who I'm actually looking at his progression, and I think that he hasn't reached his ceiling yet as well. So I think that I'm paying him more for the upside as well. He was productive, but I think he has more to the tank. So he's someone who, me personally, I know we talked about it before the show. I'd like to see where he would go if he doesn't stay, but yeah, I'm definitely giving Nas the bag.
He is. He hurt his wrist. All right.
Yeah.
And so him coming off that wrist injury, I think he deserves back. I think he has displayed offensive versatility, ability to take you off the dribble, ability to pick and pop, the ability to be a catch and shoot, long defender, capable defender. I like him a lot. And then I don't think where we go from here.
Was it Max Struss or Schroeder or D'Lo? D'Lo's one.
Time for one, so I'm gonna go Kendrick Nunn, man.
Okay, go ahead. What are you thinking about that one, man?
I think because it's I've seen him play well in certain situations.
Yeah.
Then it makes me think about like when he was with that Heat team that went to the finals that year. He played well when given opportunities to play. Mm-hmm. Now, the past couple of years with the Lakers, he's been injured. Then when he got to Washington, I've seen him play very well in certain spurts, but he's also injury prone.
Best abilities, availability, kind of thing.
So I think that when I see him play, especially with that Washington team, they're so bad they're going to get a top pick.
Yeah. Again.
And so it's like I think when you have a Bradley Beal, if you don't move him, if you bring Kyle Kuzma back, as well as a Kendrick Nunn and put some pieces, you can have a team that could start to fight for a playoff spot. It's just whether or not you have the availability and the help. So he's a person I would put incentives in.
Okay.
I would give you some money, but I'm putting incentives in it where I can get I can recoup some of this money because there is a risk.
Understandable.
And so next up, we got agree or disagree.
Mm.
Teofimo Lopez came out after a victory over the weekend over Josh Taylor, says he's the black sheep of boxing. Do you agree or disagree?
You know what? I'm gonna agree with him. I'm gonna agree with him only because he's talking specifically, Ralph, about like his weight class, right? So he's like, look, I retired at the age of 25, okay, which is young, by the way, too. And I know you watch boxing, know more than I do, but I'm like, yo, you're retiring at 25, and I look at his record, and
he just doing it for publicity. Ain't no way.
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
No, I think he's gonna come back. No one retires at 25. I don't remember unless it's some health issue, right?
Exactly.
Like a heart issue or something. We don't want to wish that on anybody, obviously. But he said, here's what he said. He said, the only way you get Teofimo Lopez back, he's speaking in third person, from retirement, is a 9-figure contract deal because I made ESPN over $100 million, right? He's like, yet I'm still getting paid $1 million a fight. All these other fighters that have not done a quarter of what I've done, he's talking, not even done a quarter of what I've done and accomplished in the sport, they're getting 8, 10, 12, and 15 million. So obviously I'm the black sheep of the industry. Now, here's why I defer to you, and then we move on. Would you say, based off his level of competition, that he's warranted of that? Because it's one thing if you're making a company X amount of money, but based off of the fight, is he drawing in fights where it's like, okay, this is what the masses want to look at. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, if the masses don't want to look at it, then I disagree. But based off the numbers, if he has actual numbers to back it up,
he beat Lomachenko handily.
Mm-hmm.
And so Josh Taylor is another person that's rising through the ranks or getting a certain type of a name and publicity in that division. And so for you to handily beat these people,
okay,
and not even get brought up in that Tank, Garcia, Haney, Shakur Stevenson, not even in the division, but gets brought up, is before me, I'd feel no way about it. So yes, I do believe, and I do agree, he is the black sheep. I don't believe with the retirement things. I don't believe he's really retiring. Because
okay.
I really can make some real money if I'm out here putting my life on the line. Views, pay me. And I do think that you put him in a position to where, regardless if he has the draw or not, someone has to be willing to take the chance and the risk behind it. I think if you put him in the ring with a Tank, you put him in the ring with a Haney, you put him in the ring, shoot, even Ryan Garcia, let him to go destroy him. Show you that this kid ain't about it. In this conversation, I don't know how he got above Lopez.
Right.
He didn't get that Tank fight, but it is what it is, and this is why I think people are starting to turn their backs on the sport of boxing.
Okay.
And next up, we got who we got here? Saquon. Not going to mandatory workouts. They're putting a cap on the running back salary cap. Certain running backs got what do they call it? Franchise tagged to pay them a certain amount for the year instead of just giving them what they feel like they deserve and want. We see the likes of Dalvin Cook getting released. Do you agree with his stance?
I'm gonna be the enemy here, man. I actually, is it stance in terms of holding out, or is it stance on the cap of
on holding out? Why he's refusing to play?
I do agree. I do agree on the stance. And it's weird, right? It's weird. And I'll make it quick. I think it's the fact that I've been on record saying that the running back position is expendable but that doesn't mean that I don't believe that it's not important. My team relies on, has in the past and in its histories relied on the run game, right? But in Saquon Barkley's case, you have a young quarterback in Daniel Jones who's still continually progressing. And I feel like when he's healthy and his ability to make that transition from the college level to the pros level, I still believe that a running back along with a tight end is very important. And here's the thing. Saquon Barkley's not your normal running back, right? He was heralded as a generational talent who was like the highest graded back prior to the likes of old boy that just came out this year, right?
Right.
So, but also at the same time, Ralph, we see running backs used as pass catchers. So we say, well, it's a passing league, but Saquon Barkley is one of the better pass catchers in the league.
Right.
I think they said this. It was like if Saquon Barkley played, I think I had a stat. It was like if he played X amount of games or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Even with the injuries, he was still accumulate. He was like putting up Barry Sanders numbers or something like that, right? So I think from that perspective, just as a positional player, you want to feel valued. And I'll end it with this. If anything else, if you say, well, it's still expendable, cool. But is he not the face of the franchise for New York? Right. Is Odell there? Is Tiki Barber there? You know what I'm saying? Strahan, Gap Tooth Strahan. Shout out to Gap Tooth, man. I respect you, bro. But he's not there no more, man. So give him the bag, bro. He's the face of your franchise because they ain't going to see your receivers. So, just being real. But all right.
I agree too, man. I think that you should give him the bag. You should not let him walk. You should not be franchise tagging him. Because I do think that when you drafted him, he was touted as this generational talent. Mm. Although I do think that for the most part, you can do a running back by committee and be successful.
Absolutely, yeah.
But at the same time, there are certain running backs that you cannot replace.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when you start thinking about those top 8 running backs, I don't think you can replace Najee Harris, even though he's coming off of a year. You see what Walker was able to do the moment he stepped onto the field. Mm-hmm. You see what a Breece Hall did the moment he stepped on the field. Derrick Henry's, Jonathan Taylor's, the Nick Chubb's, like
C-Mac. Yeah.
The Saquons, it's like you can't replace Josh Jacobs. Like you can try to replace them.
Yeah.
But with committee, but when you have one running back that you don't have to switch out packages for, you're able to play with a quicker offense instead of having all right, cool, we're going on a pass play, you get in there, or all right, cool, we want to run heavy, you get in there. But if you have that one running back that can be on the field on third down, get a 4th and 1 while also complete a 3rd and long where they're running a route. I think that ability puts you at a different level to where you got to get paid.
Right.
Especially if you're gonna use those abilities, you can't then be like, oh, well, you're still a running back. But it's like you obviously don't use me as like a traditional running back, so I feel like I should get paid more.
Yeah.
Now I'm not saying you should get a combination. Like as a running back, you're not even gonna get tight end money.
Right.
And so it's like you just got to realize it is what it is at that point. It's the position that you played. Either switch completely to a wide receiver, like Deebo Samuels, or
hey,
or it is what it is. At that
position is football now, right?
Right.
So, all right.
So we got the Nuggets, man. We talked about it earlier. We alluded to it.
Yeah.
The Denver Nuggets are the 2023 NBA champions.
Mm.
What are their chances of a repeat?
I think they have a great chance to repeat, right? I think one of the reasons why they have a great chance to repeat is they're kind of changing the way that the basketball landscape is being played right now. I think that if they played the Warriors, it would be an interesting matchup, though, because I think that what killed them was that high pick and roll, right? We even saw some of that, with Miami and with a player like Steph Curry. He's lethal. So I think that would definitely be a problem for them. However, you could say the most durable superstar in Nikola Jokic, right? And so you can't speed him up and you can't slow him down. He plays at his own pace. He has the ancillary pieces around him that allow that system to continue to function and go, right? And I've been saying that since I guess you could say like the off season now. And then they switched out, Monte Morris and Will Barton. And I think if you're looking at pieces that I don't want to use the word expendable, but if they were to change anybody, right? Let's be honest. And I like Michael Porter Jr. because everyone's like, yo, that's your guy. Based off of how he performed in the finals. And he attested to it, though. He said, I'm going to see what's wrong with my shot in the offseason. You can afford him that, give him that flexibility. But he is the one guy that we were kind of worried about in terms of, okay, his durability, 3 back surgeries, and he makes note of it, 3 back surgeries, right? And he's 6'10", and he has height. So he's kind of a matchup problem. But if he's not shooting the basketball, he's not really creating for himself, right, on the dribble. So I want to see, can he justify that contract by, once again, staying healthy and, adding more to his game. That's just me personally. But I think they have all the other pieces, Ralph, Bruce Brown. It's going to be dependent on retaining his services. We'll see what KCP's contract looks like, but you can always insert someone in who can play 3 and D. But I think Bruce Brown, Aaron Gordon, and Michael Porter Jr., it's really more about those 3 guys to me, because I think because you already have the duo of Jokic and Jamal Murray, you could say that they're the best duo or one of the best duos in the entire NBA. So we'll see what other teams like the Phoenix Suns do. I know you mentioned getting some of the defensive pieces there, where they do with Chris Paul, at the point guard position. I think that team could be something. And then last but not least, the Sacramento Kings are going to be the team that I'm going to be looking at. But me and you, we both always say you can have a good team that you expect to make that leap next year. We thought about the Pelicans, but the Kings, I believe, will have a target on their back, a smaller target than the Nuggets. But now they're going to face the battle of expectation. So I think right now I will give the Denver Nuggets the front runners as defending champs to have a chance to repeat.
Yeah, I think that based on the landscape, the Lakers just aren't there yet, so they're going to have to make a move. I can't really predict a move that's going to put them in a spot where they're better than the Nuggets. I think that the Nuggets would have to lose some pieces and teams get a little better in order for it to work, because I just think that their team is not old.
That's a scary thing, bro. Jamal's like, what, 24, 25, maybe?
Jamal Murray can get better. Right. Jokic is still in his prime and has another 2-3 years of prime. I can even see it being longer than that because of the style he plays. It's not based on his athleticism.
I hear that a lot. I like that. Yeah.
Then you have the likes of why am I drawing a break? You got Aaron Gordon. You got Michael Jr., who still can get better. You have Brett Brown, who's still young. KCP is he's not as young as the rest of the guy. He's the one vet.
Yeah, experience.
As far as your key important players, they're all relatively young. So I think that somebody would have to leave for money causes, or somebody's just going to have to get exponentially better.
Yeah.
And so I'm not necessarily sure. Maybe, who knows, with the Suns, Vogel could pull something out of DeAndre Ayton that nobody else has. Maybe they could move him and get something worth even half of what his potential could be.
Yeah.
Lakers could get better, like I said. Portland, you never know with whether they blow the team up or if they trade picks to get a veteran spot. The Warriors, if they're able to fix their problems. Pelicans, if they can get healthy. Grizzlies, if they can stay away from guns.
Yeah. Right?
And so, yeah, man, that situation is wild over there, bro.
Yeah.
But I think that they can. I definitely think they have a good shot at repeating. I wouldn't be surprised if they did repeat.
Yeah.
Or at least be back in the finals, because and then on the flip side, you got the Bucks who are going to be back. You got Celtics. Are they going to get better? Can the Heat be a more healthier version of this team? And what do they do? Because you got to realize you don't have an Oladipo. You don't have a Tyler Hero. You don't have pieces that were very vital pieces of where they were and why they got to where they were.
Yeah.
Even being in the playing games, and then now they're just not there and all the way to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
But next up, man, we got the Knights.
Mm.
Gentleman's sweep. I called it gentleman's sweep. Knights in 5. I was saying it all through as my daughter's ballet recital. I was like, Knights in 5.
Knights in 5.
5. And so yeah, what does this win in this championship mean for the city of Las Vegas?
Oh, it means everything, man. I think for when I look at this championship, you're talking about now we're a real sports hub. Let's be real. Like when you think of Vegas, what do you think? A tourist attraction.
Yeah.
Now you can say, hey, you're a premier. You really are a premier sports city. Why? Because you have WNBA. Well, you're on the. If you're not R1, you're on the rise. Excuse me. You have the WNBA, but they're champions, and they have a chance to be 2-time NBA champions. Now you have the Knights winning, getting there not just in I believe their first year, and then being able to come back and get and win again. I mean, that's huge, man. Right? So they're gonna have the parade again. They're gonna have a parade this time out in the streets of Vegas. Will be flooded.
My city.
Yeah, parade in my city, So I think this is really, really huge. A lot of hockey fans are actually out here, right? Shout out to our homie who actually, I think, works at the arena too. So, and I used to work close by where they practice at. So, yeah, this is huge, and they're dominant, and I think it's great.
Yeah, same here, bro. I think that right now, I think it's big because if you go through the history of the Golden Knights themselves, they came at a time where we needed something in the city, some kind of hope, some kind of glimmer, especially after the shooting. So I think that them coming right around that time, we have the shooting. The very next year is when we have the Golden Knights get introduced. Or it might have been right around that time the Golden Knights were getting introduced. And so that first season, we immediately go straight to a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
And I think that how the city embraced, you started seeing immediately, you saw Knights gear, jerseys, hats, people out of nowhere became hockey fans. Like, sir, I've never heard you speak hockey in the 15 years I've known you, bro.
Right.
And it's out of nowhere, people are hockey experts. You got the Golden Knights flags on people's cars. When they're in the playoffs and there's a certain buzz around the city when those teams are playing well. Like even when we got Devontae Adams here as a Raider fan, like when we got Devontae, there was a buzz that was like, oh, let's see what this team can do. That's around when your team is winning and playing well. It puts you in another spot, and it gives your city an energy that really just can't be duplicated. And so to have that attachment all the way back to the shooting to where now we get to really like the city would have exploded if they would have been able to win that Stanley Cup that first year. But still being the first one within a 5-year span to be able to win a Stanley Cup in their first years. Which to my recollection, I believe we're the first ones to do it, or the quickest to win our first Stanley Cup. I believe it was the Philadelphia Flyers that did it in 7 seasons, and they were to do it outside of like the original 6 that started the NHL Hockey League. And so I think that it's big. It's huge. The parade is on Saturday night, and I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be huge for the city. For the city.
So we got a little bit of time left, man. We're going to do some quick hitters.
All right.
Hit you with some Mika Maka Mukas.
All right.
And so Sue Bird is getting her jersey retired.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on her career?
Legendary career. Hall of Fame career at the WNBA level. Also, we have to look at internationally, right? So you have someone who's not only just on the pro league level, but international level, and on top of that, I'm looking at someone who was a huge influence, one of the most influential players, Ralph, in WNBA history and also in basketball history. And you listen to a lot of these players who are coming up, and Susan, if I'm not mistaken, in her 40s, right? So you look at a lot of these players coming up and how they use her as an inspiration. She was actually at Caitlin Clark, met Caitlin Clark during the tournament prior to the national championship game, right? So Sue Bird, an amazing guard, amazing player, a leader on and off the court, on the basketball court, an ambassador for the WNBA NBA basketball game. And for her jersey to be able to be retired, it's just an amazing a moment and a very gratifying experience, I'm sure, for her teammates, and for the WNBA as a whole. So, yeah, Sue Bird, man, much props to her and shout out to her. Much respect.
Yeah, most definitely. I think she's one of those people that when you speak of the WNBA and their history, she's someone you can't leave out of that video, that montage, that conversation, that history of that sport and that league. She's so vital to the culture. She's been a a liaison to the younger generation of women, bringing them in, making them feel welcome, letting them know like, hey, you can come to me if you have any questions, you need some insight, a second opinion, or just critique of your game and what to get better in. And I think that that's one of those things that when you make that transition from like to OG status, pretty much, I think that's one of those things that you can't really like put a tag on that. And so I'm happy to see her getting her flowers.
Okay.
And so next up, we got Nick. Oh, Dalvin Cook released. He's still 7. So what's the best landing spot for him?
Miami, I think. I think that offense, I believe that the ability to play, because Raheem Mostert every year is, he's kind of injury prone, so he's not reliable to stay upright. The best ability is availability. He's a Miami legend over there. I believe he went to high school in Miami, right? So you have that, his Florida ties. And he won't see stacked boxes because you have Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill as a defender. You have to respect their speed. These dudes are amazing. So he's going to get the opportunity. He get to play in warm weather, right? And for a team that's going to be looking to be in the playoffs and also contend for a Super Bowl if you add him. So I think that Miami, in my personal opinion, that is the number one spot for him.
I see it, man, because of the ties. But I think if we're strictly talking football, I think the best landing spot for him is Denver. I think with Sean Payton and Sean Payton type of offense that Sean Payton likes to run, his ability to use Alvin Kamara, I think that type of versatility from Dalvin Cook, I think you could slide him into an Alvin Kamara type of role while also being able to check and see what you get from Williams when he comes back from injury. And so I think that being able to, because the league's going to a spot where we're having a 2-back system. And so I'm looking to see with that. I think that I get the Miami ties because of, I think he immediately comes in, and looks like we lost Cobb, but it looks like he immediately comes in day one and is the best running back on that team. But I think when we start to evaluate everything, I think it's too many running backs in the running back room it's like too many chefs in the kitchen. And so I think when you have a Raheem Mostert, you already have Mitchell, you already have Dalvin Cook. Now you have 3 running backs where I don't know if he's necessarily going to be willing to take that step back and split carries with 2 other running backs who are already going to split carries. So I think that being able to step in day one, help with Williams, he can step in and be the best running back day one. I think, and the way that offense looks, it's going to suck playing in cold weather because you're playing in Denver, but it just is what it is at the end of the day. And so until we get Kai back, I'm going to finish out this show, man. So is it time for the WNBA to have private flights. Now, this is just my opinion on stuff. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm the biggest proponent, or I can even make moves or make these move these mountains for these ladies. But I do think that with the situation that happened with Brittany Griner over the weekend, where she's going walking through a public airport, people are screaming at her, yelling profanities and things of that sort. I think that it's time to protect these ladies and get them private flights. Now, it's already one of those things where they're working in partnership with the NBA anyway. So why not continue to keep and build off of that alliance to help these ladies get these? Hey, what's happening, bro? You good?
Back in, yeah, I just fell out. I don't know. They were trying to finish me on the finale, man. So, so sorry. All right, let's keep rolling.
I do think that it's time to get these ladies private flights. Make sure they get there safely. I do understand the money part. That is one of those things where, but at the same time, I think that the game is growing. Eventually, with supply and demand and how that works, tickets are going to get more expensive. But a ticket is already like $10 a game anyway. What's a $20 ticket? Which eventually could possibly lead to the possibility of furthering the cause to get these private flights. I'm not sitting here saying that changing $10 a ticket is going to lead to being able to afford a private jet, but it's a step in the right direction. Do you think it's time for the private flights?
Yeah, I believe it's time. It's time. We got to get them on in the skies, man. Back in the sky. No, but yeah. Private flights. I believe hey, look, the NBA has a private flights. WNBA has a private flights. They're traveling. Also, I look at the price, the cost effective, and I also think about how the league itself is growing. It has grown. It's going to continue to grow. Also, we have to think about this, Ralph. We were just talking about, and I believe what was our last episode, the episode before. We were talking about expansion of the WNBA, right? So I think when I look at that and I think about, the cities and destinations, this would be a perfect time to actually add or initiate the private flights into the WNBA, into the league. So I'm actually in favor of it, me personally.
Right on. Next up, and our final one, Sylvia Fowles, Big Sil, got her jersey in Minnesota. It's a wild situation where it's like you start to look up. You see people you grew up watching or watched in their respective sport for a long period of time that are just retiring. But after looking at her accolades, man, looking at her resume, is she the greatest center in WNBA history
of all time? Man, I'm looking at, so I have right now 2-time WNBA champ, 2017 MVP, 8-time All-Star. That's highly impressive. I think for me, when I look at her though, Ralph, I think it's the longevity. Yeah. The longevity is the key. So I think that she's in the discussion in there. I also think that someone, even though her career is not over, I know she had to do a stint, but I want to see how long someone like Brittany Griner winds up playing at the position, just from the defensive standpoint at that position. So we'll see how her career ends up. But I think Sylvia Fowles, she has longevity. She's been a winner. She's been an MVP. Now you could say, well, maybe if she had won more MVP awards, and you could talk about the skill level of the game. But I think that her game has been able to transit and gel nicely within eras. So I think that she'll obviously be in the discussion of the greatest centers of all time. But I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna hold off on it. What do you say?
I'm gonna hold off on it too, because it's like I don't want to disrespect Lisa Leslie. 3-time MVP, 3-time All-Star MVP, 2-time WNBA champion, and 8-time All-Star, and she's a Hall of Famer. So at that point, I would have to go and look numbers by numbers, look at the tape, and see what it is. But I definitely think that she has a stake to the conversation.
Yeah, a stake. It's fine.
Sorry for the blackout, guys. Thank you all for watching. We got to get out of here. It is the finale. We will be back in about a month. We got to discuss, but make sure you follow us on our socials. Definitely look out on Instagram at j.u.k. sports show on Instagram for any updates on the show status, when we will be starting our second season, and any changes to the show, interactive stuff. We're going to start doing some interactive. You guys get to pick our topics. Let us know what you're interested in. Hit us up on that Instagram page. Hit us up on our Facebook page, the He Say She Say channel. Also on YouTube. Make sure you go and subscribe on YouTube at j.u.k.media. Thank you all for watching. It's been a great first season. It was a 2 year, longest one season, but hey, it is what it is. It's been a lot of tinkering and tinkering. And we're out. Peace, love, and chicken grease.